second step of this protocol, which is actually downloading the Google Earth imagery. Remember that I have uploaded all these different protocols, all the different steps, and we're currently covering this second one. So I'm going to open this Word document that contains all the instructions to be followed to perform this protocol, and I'm going to move it over here. Here it is. So first thing to do would be just to download the Google Earth Pro software. We will need the desktop version to actually have access to the historical images. I put here a couple of links where you can access like the download page, and I actually have it here open. It will look like something like this on your computer probably, and depending on the characteristics of your computer, you might be downloading a different version. So just check that everything is okay and download the software. To speed up the process, I have already installed it in my computer. So I'm going to go directly to the next step. So I'm assuming you might be quite familiar with this software, but just in case you're not, I'm going to just cover the general overview and how it works. If you already know, you just can skip this chapter of the video. So when it opens, it generally goes to somewhere in the world. You can navigate easily by right-clicking and dragging different parts of the world. Zooming in, you can use your mouse if you have the zoom in feature. And in here, you can see where the north is, and you can change the compass and the tilt of the image, like the angle where this is seen from. So to run this example, I'm going to use one of the populations of the manuscript that this data is coming, these protocols are coming with. In order to go to the one location, there are different options. You can just zoom into that section. You can actually search in this part here. You can actually type whatever close point you remember, or you can actually add some coordinates as well. And in this case, I'm getting closer to this area where last year we identified a lot of invasive individuals, and we have the GPS locations for them and everything. So I know that my individuals are located here. Actually, from this Google Earth imagery, they can be seen. I am quite an expert on identifying these species, and I have seen a lot of images, so I know how this species looks like. If you're working with a different species, you might train a bit your eye from aerial images, from sites you know the species is actually there, and had this sense of how the species looks like from the air. So the species of interest is this invasive species, is an opuntia species. We can see this individual here, another one here, another one here, another one here, another one here. And probably by this point, you are quite certain that we can see a lot of it here. So you can actually, it's very easy to identify it from aerial images. So for example, there is not much in here, but you can spot one here. So it's quite easy for a naked eye to identify a lot of individuals. Some a bit more here. So we're going to use this area to study how these individuals have been growing in the past. If you want to check the date of this image, you have always the information down here. I hope, actually my camera is right on it. So I'm going to try to make it a bit smaller so you can actually see it. So in this part of the image, I'm going to try to do a zoom in here. You can see the date of the image. One thing that's important at this point is to select a good coverage of the area that we are interested on. So we could consider a large area, but there are some drawbacks on it. Consider a close area is not a good idea either. So we're looking for a compromise. And the trade-off is actually getting enough information for an appropriate georeferencing later on. And also getting enough number of individuals within the picture. So in this case, for this population, I think I choose an angle like this that contains mostly all the individuals I have identified on the field and actually contains some contextual information that can be used for georeferencing, such as these structures and these roads and things that will be fixed across years that can be used. So for example, this may not be useful, this angle, this view, because it contains a lot of roads that are not may not be stable across years. They may have slightly movement. So I would recommend including some elements that are easy to track across years, especially if you find that there's going to be a lot of historical resolution. So when you have decided what will be your view, I'm gonna use this one for example, it's time to check that our orientation and angle are completely plane and completely north, because that's going to speed up the process a lot. So as you can see here, it's not completely north because when we zoom in and out, it like varies a little bit. So an easy way to reset this would be to go to view, and we have this reset option and we have this tilt and compass, and we might want to reset tilt and compass. So you can see that the image is quite, again, on the proper like 90 degrees zenithal point of view. If we do zoom in, this will change slightly. So you might go again, reset, tilt and compass, and it will correct the inclination. So when you have decided the zoom level that you want, and make sure that you are doing this reset. So one of the most interesting things to do now before going to historical images is to set a polygon of our area of interest, and that's going to be very useful for georeferencing. So it's very easy to draw a polygon here. You would just go to this tool here, and sorry, this pop up on the other screen, but you'd set up a new polygon. I'm gonna say study area. Greece, for example. And I'm going to add a few points to define it. So my study area, it's going to be something, could be something big, for example. It could be this, 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 and this. So that's my polygon. I'm going to say okay. And I might be interested into changing the styling of it. So to change the color, if you, as me, have closed that window where it was defining the polygon, you can just right click on the polygon and go to properties. And here in style and color in this tab, we can change if we want a different color. We can just change it to something that can be easily seen. I would say yellow is usually very useful, and aligned yellow. So I'm gonna say okay. Maybe something a bit more bigger so we can easily find the crossing spots. And I'm just going to select outlined so we don't have anything inside. I'm going to click OK. And this is going to be useful because it's going to provide us for some georeferencing points on the outside parts of this image that are going to be very useful for speed up a bit the georeferencing process, which is crucial for this project. In order to do so, what we need to do now is to store the coordinates of these 4 points. And to do so, we right-click again here, we save place as, and very importantly, when we save this polygon, we need to save it as KeyML, not as KMZ. So open this drop-down menu and select KeyML. I'm just going to store it here. The KeyML that we have just stored is here, and we can open it with any reader, text reader. I'm gonna open with Notepad, for instance, and this is our KeyML. And the easiest way to access the coordinates here is to look for this tag, the coordinates tag here, and you will find the coordinates of the different points. You might want to save it somewhere. It could be an Excel file, could be on your notebook, depending on how much images you have to process. KeyML is also very accessible if you know how to code to access the coordinates, so feel free to just access it using any coding software you like. So getting back to the image, we have defined the polygon, we have the coordinates. Now we need to download the image. We might first want to click this icon, this clock with the arrow going backwards in time, which is our time traveler, our historical image timeline. I'm going to click it, and you'll see that the image instantly changes to something different. So you can check the date here. Image date is 2025. So it's this year, and it's the most recent picture. But in this timeline, we can find lots of different pictures. And this is a very interesting point because, this is a very interesting location because it has lots of aerial images, very high quality. So I can go back in time, actually click to travel back in time. You can just shift between images. I would suggest that you don't change the zoom in and out, because that's going to be very much easier to georeference later. So maintaining this desired view, I'm going to be changing between images across time and downloading them. So I could start, for example, with the most recent one, and to download it, I'm just going to click this icon, which is like, there's like a picture and a location symbol. Well, it says save image. I'm going to open it, and you will see this menu that spreads out here. It's taking a second of it. Nice. And we can change, like we can delete all these elements. I believe we can just take it out from here. Like I don't want any title, I don't want a legend. I might want a scale, that's up to you. And we might want other configurations. It's important that it changes the resolution to the maximum, so it downloads always the maximum resolution that it has for every image, and saving the image would be just as easy as click here and set the desired name. The image will be stored as a JPEG, and I recommend like setting a code like this was 2025, this was March. So I'm gonna save it here. When you look at this little timeline, you'll see only the month and the year. For our purposes, this is more than enough as temporal information. So I'm getting back to this menu where we can see the different pictures. And what I'm going to do is just go to every image, check the date, the month, and the year here, and download the image. And I'm going to get back in time and do this for everyone. I think there was a very good example here of something that you might encounter. Yeah, this is it. So as you can see here, we have two very different resolutions. There is kind of a split in the half of the image, and it actually says this image is from this is July 23rd. If I go farther in time, I can see like the images has almost nothing to do with that one. And when I get back in time, I see that the image is extended. So this way is extended to that part of the image. I'm going to do it again. Like I go in the future and in the past. So actually meaning that when we are seeing this combined picture, we're seeing a piece of it that it's a bit from the past. You might be very careful with this, because Google Earth says like the most updated image you're seeing in part of your image, which in case is this one, but this is not useful for our purposes. So I'm just going to rule out this image that doesn't contain fully updated imagery for all the picture. For the rest of them, I'm going to check which ones I want to use, because some of them may be very good, some of them may not be as good, because the timing of the year may not be relevant, or because the resolution, as in this case, is too low to actually see anything. Usually when you go back in time, the images are a bit worse, but it's not always the case, because the providers for these images are quite variable. This is a very bad one, for example, but I remember there was a very good one. There's a very good one. So you might want to check all of them just in case which ones may be of interest. And depending on the size of your object, you may actually like be able to track it anyway. This is a very good one from a few years ago. We can spot some individuals. If you have a good site, you might spot like there is one here, some individuals here, I can still see them. And when you go back in time, you will see that some individuals might have disappeared and are not there. So I think the oldest image that it's quite a good resolution for this site, I think it was 2015, if I'm correct. Oh, there was a bad one there. Well, I might want to check. So we can get back in time for a lot of years and see if the individuals were already there or not, which is an amazing time travel. Yeah. So this is more than 10 years ago. The resolution is amazing. And I'm going to zoom in just to check you that the individuals were there already. So as you can see, I don't know if you remember that we had this individual was already there 10 years ago. This one as well. This one as well. We had more individuals. In the future, we'll have some individuals here, some individuals here that were not present. So we can check that very quickly. For example, if I time travel to the 2022, you will see that these individuals have appeared here, and we have much more individuals here. So at the end, you will end up with a folder looking like something like this, where I have for a specific place all the images going forward in the future where I will perform the next step of my protocol, which will be do the individual segmentation from these images. So see you on the next video.